Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Happy to be here. Happy to be amongst those in the land of the living. We have a lot to look forward to, and you and I have a lot going on in this day and time that we hope to make a difference in. And this should be your desire. This should be your prayer, brothers and sisters, that we will make a difference. And we find the rising of these messiahs in order for us to make a difference. We find the rising of these messiahs. So my desire and my prayer today is that I will transform your thinking, because it must be done, and transform your vision as it relates to what's coming up on the horizon and what God is doing for us. God is doing amazing things for us because we have the passing of the old guard and the rise of the new guard. Before that old guard can pass, right, there has to be a rising of the new guard. So this rise that we're experiencing today is no different than any other rise. We're going to talk about, because in any rise, brothers and sisters, there must be a fall. In any rise. And any organization that you deal with, no matter what person that you deal with, any era that you deal with, you have to understand that in any rise, there's a fall. If you look at nations, you'll see that Spain couldn't be a conquering nation if England had become the new conquering nation. And America, rather England, couldn't be a new conquering nation had not, or rather with America rising as a conquering nation. So each nation has had their chance in the sun, so to speak. And organizations are the same way, very same way with organizations. So we're going to talk about the rise of the Black Messiah in organizations. We're going to talk about that rise, and it's something that we don't have. So we're going to take our time, because we know that there are those in Nevada. We know there are those in California. We know there are those in Oregon and some of the other places, New Mexico, that would like to get in on this podcast. We're going to take our time. We're going to also put our link in the right section, so you'll be able to see it in the comments section. So you'll be able to see it. Also, brothers and sisters, if you would desire to have some of the products, we know that one sister asked for some boots. We've given you the information, sister. Hopefully you've gotten those boots. If not, you can make a request. I'll put a website, or rather email in the comment section, so that you'll be able to respond and get those boots. Be able to respond and get those boots. And we want to thank you for your support of us. And I want to thank all the others for your support of us. Because anytime you help keep us up, you're keeping yourself up. If you support Black business, no matter where it is, if you support Black business, then you're keeping us up. And you keep yourselves up. We can't do anything without you. I have enough sense to know that I can't do anything without you. And hopefully you have enough sense to know that you can't do anything without me. And so my desire, my prayer is to keep you informed and keep you educated, right? So that you will know exactly what's going on, what time it is. We study the past, and I want to say this, then I want to get on to our subject about the rise of the new Black Panther Party. Our past must be discussed. Incidents in our past must be discussed, because if we don't discuss it, then we won't be able to navigate our future. And we have to understand that this alone is one of the most important things that you will ever learn. Just that alone, that by itself. If we don't understand the past, we'll never understand the future. You have to understand that. So my desire, my prayer is that you will understand that you will come to the realization and the understanding, because that's what you and I need to come to the realization and the understanding of what's going on, what's happening, and see how we fit in it. See how we fit into that picture. We have to do that. And this is why I spend time talking about the past. Now, you have hecklers that will come on the show who have nothing better to do. And I know it. Absolutely nothing better to do than to heckle the truth that you and I will be putting out on this show. And I've already told you that if you have information that you think that will work, please, by all means, say it, because we teach this show together. We teach this show together. There's nothing we can do without it. The help of you and your discussions, even if you disagree, we appreciate you putting that in the comment section because it gives us something to talk about. There's no authority on the complete truth. Because you may think of things I haven't thought of, and I may think of things that you haven't thought of. So there's no exceptions on the complete truth. I just want you to know that. And I want you to be encouraged, because you have to be encouraged. You must be encouraged today. Must understand exactly what's going on and what situation you're in. You have to understand that. You have to understand it. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, isn't that right? But against powers, against darkness, isn't that right? And high heavenly realms. So we fight spiritual warfare that we can't see. Is that right or wrong? And we should be talking about this every day, because that's what we fight. That's what you and I fight. It's a spiritual warfare. Our warfare is not carnal, but it's spiritual. And that's something that you have to know. We fight a spiritual warfare, brothers and sisters. And this spiritual warfare that you and I are fighting, we have to have the right armor when we fight in this warfare. We've got to have the right armor. If we don't have the right armor, then we won't survive. And you have to understand that. So my desire, my prayer is that you will survive. My desire, my prayer is that you will wake up, because we have to do that, and have the right spirit on the inside so that we can hear what God is trying to tell us while we fight. It's not one or the other. It's what we do together. And I want you to understand that there is a sequence. The sequence of events that happen, and I did my best in my shows to try to organize it. The sequence of events that has happened. And those sequence of events, I want you to understand that in this chronology, we explain the different moves of the devil. We explain the different moves of those that are possessed by Satan and his desires, because this is important. This is very important. It's very important that we talk about it and discuss what we've been through as black people and who we've been fighting against. Who has been your common enemy? Is that right or wrong? From the time that they have invaded your lands. And that's all the continents, all of the continents. This invader has invaded your lands. So we must be wise, we must be steadfast, we must be unmovable, and always abounding in the work of God. Right? The same work that Jesus did is the same work that we're going to do, right? And it's not about Easter. It has nothing to do with Easter. We don't deal in fairy tales. We deal in the truth. Is that right? So brothers and sisters, that's what we're here for today. To understand that truth. With black people from the very beginning betraying and backsliding and blacksliding against their people. Right? For the sake of welcoming one that has never meant you any good. And we have to understand that. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. We have to understand that. That we are in bondage in this land. We have been in bondage to the white man ever since he came. Ever since he visited, we've been in bondage. And I know some of you are saying right now, excuse me, some of you are saying right now, well, I got a white dad. I got a white mom. So did Master Fard Muhammad. But that didn't stop him from calling them a devil. And if he will say it, having a white mom and a white dad, who are you and I to disagree with what he's saying? And even with our naked eye, we have seen the position that mulattoes have been in, or mixed people have been in, and the decisions that they are afraid to make. So we have a lot of work to do, you and I. We have so much work to do, and God is waiting. He's waiting for us to do this work. You won't get by in this world without fighting, right, evil. Because if you're good, that's what you're supposed to do. You fight evil. The Spirit of God is against the spirit of evil. So brothers and sisters, that's what we're talking about, our fight against evil down through the years. What has happened as we fought against evil? What has happened since we fought against evil, you and I? We've had some losses, right? Not just black losses, but white losses. Because anytime the white man stands up against other devils to do good, he's killed too. You had an American president killed in your face, an American president. John F. Kennedy was killed in front of people. Nobody could do anything about it. If the Secret Service couldn't protect him, there's nothing that you and I can do about it. So we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against power, against principalities, against wickedness in high heavenly realms, in high places. Is that right? Not just mental places or spiritual places, but also in industrial places, in the executive, the judicial, the legislative branch. These are high places on earth. Is that right or wrong? These are high places. So we have a work to do. We organize black organizations to help us in the things that we don't have. You got the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party was organized because white police were killing us every which way we turned. And you and I need God. We need God in our lives. We need him waking up. We need him lying down. We need God Sunday through Sunday to be a close companion with us and to remind us. Is that right or wrong? To be a close companion to us and to remind us. Right? Because he is a keeper and he will remind you and will guide you between all things. You don't think that God could raise up a Black Panther Party while you're out of your mind? It's God who is raising up these black organizations, brothers and sisters. God is doing that. The devil isn't doing that. God is doing it. He's raising up a generation that is after his own heart. He's raising up a generation that will prove him. God is doing that. And that's why you and I have to get on God's side. We got to get on God's side so that God will be on our side. Isn't that right? So God raises up these black organizations to protect us, brothers and sisters. You just got to wake up and see that. Your mind have to be open enough to see it. It's not the devil that's bringing these organizations to light, but God is working in the land. Is that right or wrong? If you take a look around the country and what's happening today, God is answering. God is doing what he said he would do. Is that right or wrong? And it's God that said he would triumph over evil. Right? God said that. You don't need no lily white Jesus. Right? He wasn't white anyway. They lynched Jesus on the cross, and they've been lynching you and I on the cross and hanging us with the rope ever since we were born, ever since that man came into our existence, ever since he came into our land. right? Ever since he invaded our culture and custom, he's been killing us. Is that right or wrong? So you got to open up your eyes, brothers and sisters. When you see Easter and you see the white man making all of these baskets and selling all of these bunnies, you got to know that it has nothing to do with the resurrection. Nothing at all. The white man's just trying to make some money, and you'll make him wealthy every year. Black children going out getting Easter baskets. You're making them wealthy. Parents buying new clothes. My God. My God. Buying new clothes for these children. Many of them are going to church just once a year, and they don't even understand what the resurrection is about, which has nothing to do with Easter. No more than the birth of Christ has anything to do with Christmas. Is that right or wrong? Because anytime a man-child was born, the man-child was called blessed. Is that right or wrong? And God organized it that way so that he could have the Messiah birth, right? And the enemy, like he did in Egypt, was going to destroy the children 2 and below, did the same thing in Jerusalem, was going to destroy the children 2 and below. What are they doing now? They're killing babies now, trying to stop the rise of the Black Messiah. These black organizations, God created them. God created the Black Panther Party. He created the civil rights organizations, Southern Christian Leadership Council. He created the old AAU. He created the Nation of Islam. God did this. Somebody's saying right now, well, brother, we don't know if God, but God did create it. Once you get the white man out of your mind, and once you get the white man out of your heart, then you know that God created these organizations as instances, right? Because the white man has to know, which is going to work into your total liberation. The white man has to know that God is not mocked, that whatsoever a man should sow it, he shall also reap. That's why there's no such thing as atonement. Farrakhan had you marching down in 1995. I don't understand it. Between the feet of 2 dead men, a dead man named Lincoln and a dead man named Washington, had you standing in front of the obelisk, right? Yeah, you standing right there in front of your ancestral penile, right, into the heavens, while the man took you back 25 to 50 additional years in one march. Farrakhan is I don't know how old now. Nobody's trying to kill him because he's never been a threat. God has to raise up organizations so that he will put somebody in those organizations that will deliver you. And these messiahs are known by their deaths. Is that right or wrong? Because we have so many fake and false prophets in front of us, brothers and sisters. I hope you're praying with me. We have so many fake leaders, black leaders, that have been placed there by the enemy until we have been confused by the difference between the truth and the lie. You and I have been confused, putting our faith in these men. There's no black leader in front of you today that the white man didn't put there. The only way that you know that the white man didn't put him there is that he's catching hell from the cradle to the grave. The leader that God has set before you is going to always catch hell, because his way is the way of God, and God's way is not the way of the world. God and Satan have different paths. Well, God's path is the path of salvation. Satan's path is surely the one of destruction. Is that right or wrong? But God has already told us if we just hold fast. Is that right? He said, my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. Then And only then will I look from heaven and heal the land. Right? Is that right or wrong? So we've got to wake up. We've got to get up. We've got to operate in the power of the Almighty God. You and I, that's our job. We got to operate in God's power. We have no power. We have no power, but we got to operate in God's power. And the minute we start operating in God's power, then God can heal our land. Right? But before we operate in God's power, we got to let his light shine. How do we do that? We don't live like the world lives. Is that right or wrong? The world got another way they live, but we don't live that way. We live by the rules and the salutations of God. We live by the instructions of God. That's our religious devotion, right? We have our prayer where we pray for health and strength unto God, and then we walk in the statutes of God. This is our devotion. This is our reasonable service. Is it right or wrong? So what you and I have got to do, we've got to wake up, brothers and sisters. We've got to get involved into changing of our communities. And look, he's made it so simple. You don't have to march out on the streets or do anything like that. You don't have to put yourself in direct danger. You don't have to do anything like that. All you have to do is stay in your community. And once you're in your community, begin to become an avenue of blessing in your community. And it's simple. Back in the days of the old, we used to go to old folks' house and clean their houses when they couldn't clean it themselves. Is that right or wrong? We used to do their hair, right? Cut it or plait it. We used to go and clean their houses, disinfect. Is that right or wrong? Organize them. We used to cut their grass, clip their hedges, right? Bring them food when they were hungry. We did this in our community. Then we controlled hunger, my God, inside of our community. If we're going to, and then you have to think about it. Every black organization that was raised for this purpose. Even the new Black Panther Party, the Black Panther Party. And I want to show you this. And that's why, it makes no sense for the Black Panther Party to say that there is no new Black Panther Party. That's crazy. Each need of the generation is different. Whereas the Black Panther Party was the schoolmaster for what we may have needed. And the schoolmaster, in other words, the teachers of what we must say and what our plight must be, black people. The concerns had changed. Police left from drugs and started killing in the community at such a fast rate and were putting drugs in the community. They began to shoot people down. White people began to drag people behind trucks. They began to lynch openly. For that reason, the new Black Panther Party was born. I want you to understand that. It was a bigger problem and a bigger situation than the Black Panther Party had fought. And we have to understand it. We have to be real. We have to have some understanding. Let's look at the Black Panther Party to understand why it came about. And then we're going to look at the new Black Panther Party. See, this is important. This is very, very important. And we have to go back to it because in that we'll begin to find that there are agents. I know you hate for me to say it, but it's the truth that there were agents in that party. We're not going to touch on them right now, but we will touch on them later. But you already know that Angela Davis is an agent. You know that Bobby Seale is an agent. Come on, brothers and sisters. The charges they had on them, the government had put political prisoners behind bars for less. You got to open your eyes to see it, see? And I have to say it. I know a lot of y'all look at me and you're like, brothers, now this person's agent, that person's agent. You got to open your eyes. You got to open your eyes. Kathleen Cleaver is already telling you about certain agents in the movement who brought drugs, who brought women, and killed the chain of command in the Black Panther Party. It was not just Angela Davis, but it was Elaine Brown. And both of them was working at different stages of the spectrum. One was citing the Black Panther Party through certain acts, whether it be in prison or out of prison, citing them as a very dangerous group. Angela Davis garners the attention of Soul Dad brother, right, who George Jackson, because had she not gotten in the way, you would have had a revolution in the prison where they would have come out of the prison. They would have literally broke out of the prison or would have been let out. The mindset, brothers and sisters. The mindset. Then you look at Elaine Brown. There's nothing that she did for the party, but she doped Huey up and had so many women around there with dope and put dope within the Black Panther Party, and also pointed fingers at people falsely, so they'd be killing from within. She did so much of that, right, behind the support of the federal government and bringing monies in and things like that, till you know how we do. We figure, well, this sister is talented, this sister is gifted. These kind of people you got to watch. Because as soon as she got Huey drugged up, and he would have to leave to go to detox and also get his PhD in Cuba. Then she took over the organization, started doing strange stuff. We're going to talk about that, though. We're going to talk about that. So you got Elaine Brown, Bobby Seale. We know our agents. We know for a fact our agents. They've been no threat. And let's be real. White people are not going to reward you once you went against them. I know. The minute that you stand up, that's it. You better be sure. You better be sure. Right? But standing for something is better than falling for anything, brothers and sisters. How much are you worth? There's no amount of money that'll buy me. No amount of money. You have to say that to yourself. There's no amount of money, regardless of what's going on. God will deliver you. God will. See, if you believe in God, you're not going to turn over to the devil. See? That's why I say you can't be a black nationalist, right, without being a black believer in him who has sent you. God sent you. God raised up all the black organizations, all the black people that are standing up trying to put out truth. God said in the last days, I'll pour out my flesh, and your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Young men shall dream visions. Is that right or wrong? That's in the book of Revelation. You sure you ready for this tonight, brothers and sisters? The Black Panther Party, originally the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, was a Marxist-Leninist black power political organization. Is that right or wrong? Excuse me, brothers and sisters. I know you understand. This was founded by college students. Bobby Seale was one. Huey P. Newton was the other one. In October 1966, this is in Oakland, California. The party was active in the United States, the Black Panther Party, from 1966 to 1982, according to them, according to the government. Now, we know that the Black Panther Party continues because other organizations came out of it. But for the sake of the media and the recognition, excuse me, brothers and sisters, I know you understand. For the sake of media and recognition of the organization, it was from 1966 to 1982. That's nearly 20 years. Now, they had chapters in every major American city, including San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. They were active in many prisons. George Jackson came out of that. Is that right or wrong? We just finished talking about that prison. We're going to get into it. Excuse me. They were active in many prisons. They had international chapters in the United Kingdom and Algeria. This is very, very important that you understand this. Very, very important that you understand it. Upon its inception, the party practice was its open carry patrol. They called it cop watching. They designed the challenge of excessive force and misconduct of the Oakland Police Department. Is that right or wrong? From 1969 onward, the party created social programs. They had a purpose, brothers and sisters. That's how you know a true leader that's been sent by God to govern these parties, opposed to fraud, hypocrites, fakes, phonies, cowing, and eavesdroppers. The fact that they had social programs for the people that were impoverished, right? Power to the people, right? In order to get power, we're gonna need some program. We're gonna need some jobs, right? We gotta use it, right? But we'll control our capitalism. So we got our programs. We gotta have jobs. We gotta have schools. We gotta have colleges, right? Isn't that right or wrong? So they had social programs of every sort needed for the black community. Not only that, brothers and sisters, they had free breakfast for children. They had education programs, community health clinics, Black Panther Party, free clinics. Is that right or wrong? Free clinics is nothing new. The Black Panther Party advocated for class struggle, claiming to represent the proletariat vanguard. Remember when we talked about Marxists, Leninists? Karl Marx talked about the wealthy class, the bourgeoisie, the lower class, the proletariat. That's what he's talking about. When we look at these breakfast programs for children, the breakfast program for children, or the what's called the breakfast for school children program, or the People's Free Food program. Notice it said the people, was a community service program run by Black Panthers that focused on providing free breakfast for children before school. The program began in January of 1969. That's a program. That's a focus, right? Because you have to get the young children, right? They advocated for class struggle. What's that? Right? This is what made them dangerous. This is why I tell you, see, they were dangerous. They were dangerous because they were doing something. The government's not after you if you're not doing nothing, right? And if they have controlled you and they can't control you anymore, then they're concerned about that. Now, you look at Puffy. He's in trouble now. He's been a government agent from the beginning. He can't dance, can't sing, can't rap. But he's made it by shedding the blood of black people all through his organization. Right? But there's a changing of the guard. They're sick of them. They got to use somebody else. But you know the devil, once he's got you, he'll never let you go. He'll destroy you before he lets you go. He's not going to let you go. That's why you're a fool to follow the devil. You're a fool if you follow the devil. You're a fool if you follow Satan. He's not going to let you go. These devils will grab you and have you to do evil. And after that, they'll stand you before the people and destroy you. That's what they'll do. You got to wake up. I already know it. See, my desire, my prayer is that you'll know it. That's my desire, my prayer. I'm looking on our gadget. We have DC, and we want to say hello there. We want to say hello to California. It's finally on. In their time, we've got a different time. So a lot of them are getting it late because we have a different time. Their time zone different from ours. We want to say hello, say hello to Oregon. They're here with us again. I want to say hello to all of these people. We know there are different groups that are tuning in from an area. Because we're trying to, what are we doing? We're trying to build up our programs, right? So these programs could focus on social programs, right? And we could take care of our children. Because if you're doing home education and you're doing a home e-school or you're doing a home charter school, then our children are safe. They ain't got to worry about going to school to get killed. Is that right, brothers and sisters? They don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about being killed. They ain't got to worry about getting COVID or nothing like that. Right? So we got to be wise. Educate our children at home. Educate our children at home. We got to be wise. So this class struggle that the Black Panther Party advocated for in political science, this conflict, a class struggle, refers to the political tension and economic antagonism that exists among social classes of society, because the socio-economic competition for resources among the social classes between the rich and the poor, right? The control. So Black Panther Party was fighting for control. They were fighting for control of certain resources. See, if we can get these resources, we'll take care of ourselves. We don't need any help from you. They were a proletariat vanguard. We talk about Marxism-Leninism, right? The class struggle, right? The social program. The proletariat is the social class of wage earners, those members of society whose only possession of significant economic value is their labor power. A member of such a class is a proletariat or a proletariat. Marxist philosophy regards the proletariat under the condition of capitalism as an exploited group. Is that right or wrong? So here, the Black Panther Party, I want you to understand it, wasn't a non-organized organization, but it was an organized organization. And in 1969, J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, described the party as the greatest threat to international security of the country. The FBI sabotaged the party with an illegal and covert counterintelligence program. We talked about counterintelligence before, right? COINTELPRO. It was the FBI director, J. Edgar Hoover, that sabotaged the Black Panther Party and subsequently the new Black Panther Party with an illegal covert counterintelligence program. They put their own leaders in charge, right? Government agents to run it in the ground. And all you got to do is look and see, and you'll find out who it was. The ones that gave the hell were the ones that they arrested, stayed on them all the time. Just want you to know. It was all designed to undermine and to criminalize the Black Panther Party. The FBI was involved in the 1969 assassination of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, who were killed in a raid by the Chicago Police Department. Black Panther Party members were involved in many fatal firefights with police. Huey Newton alleged that the Black Panther Party was being attacked by police, FBI agents, CIA agents as well. Huey Newton allegedly killed off John Frey in 1967, allegedly. And Elgin Cleaver, Minister of Information, led an ambush, so they say, in 1968 of Oakland police officers, in which two officers were wounded, and Panther treasurer Bobby Hutton. Bobby Hutton was the youngest of the group, was killed. The party suffered many internal conflicts, resulting in the murder of Alex Rackley, who was an agent, and Betty Van Patter, who was also an agent. Because one was a bookkeeper for the Black Panther Party, And see, and I'm gonna say this. I didn't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. I mean, it's a fact. See, you can't mix too much, no cream in a coffee. Anytime you put I don't care if it's 1 grain of cream in coffee, you kill the potency. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that the Black Panther Party made was getting the agent Betty Van Patter. Her name was Betty Louise Van Patter. She was a bookkeeper for the Black Panther Party. And listen, she herself was white. We got to be able to, this is why we discuss the past. We got to be able to learn from the past. You've got to have some organization that white people can't get in. Anytime white people come in, it's an infiltration. It's an invasion. Anytime you let the white Jesus in your heart, it's an invasion. Anytime you let the white Jesus in your mind, it's an invasion. If you let the white Jesus in your space, it's an invasion. What do I mean? Anytime you let white people in your organization, whether it be your mind or some physical organization that you're involved in, it explains a doom. I'm just telling you. Don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you. You should be able to see it. You should be able to see it. Civil rights movement was a powerful movement until when? Until the white people got in it. Then they controlled it and derailed the entire movement. It went from civil rights to women's rights to liberation rights to no rights. Black people are not getting any rights today. Everybody else is getting rights other than black people. The Black Panther Party, what happened? It was a great organization, powerful in its outstart. What happened? They began to let white people in. The minute they let white people in, then it began to be derailed. They made it a poppy movement. Is that right or wrong? Right? And once they derailed it, they got all the leading Black Panther members on drugs. And after that, the organization was derailed, and all of them, except the black agents, were completely wiped out. Alice Rackley was an American activist. This is what they say. You have to pay attention to this, because the white people, to keep their agents relevant, they say, this is how you know. They say he was an American activist. Now here was a black man, right? Not an American. He's not even African American, not even Afro-American. You may hope to be, but you're not. You're black. Because this country was built on racism, you'll have to give in to the connotation, because that's what they say. Right? Now, it's different if you're doing something on your own. Then you can say Black American, or you can say American African. That's a big difference than them saying American or African American, because the two are not synonymous with one another, and they don't exist. Alex Rackley, right, who was also murdered in the Black Panther Party, another agent, was an American activist who was a member of the New York chapter of the Black Panther Party in the late 1960s. In May 1969, Rackley was suspected by party members of being a police informant. He was brought to the Panthers headquarters in New York, it was New Haven, and he was held captive there, and the Panthers dealt with him there. Now, let me say this. Some agents are used just so the government can get a case. The government will sacrifice anyone. You better hear me. These devils, when you give your heart over to the devil, he does 3 things. He steals, kills, and destroys. He does all those things to you. Steal your joy. He kills your conscience to do right. And he destroy you physically, spiritually, and otherwise. That's what he does. That's what the devil does. Right? And the devil belongs to Satan. One of them is physical. You can see him. If you don't believe me, go to go to Isaiah, the 14th chapter, the 14th through the 24th verse. And you'll see exactly who the devil is. It said, is this the man? All you got to do is go and read it. The devil is a man. That's a physical entity. Right? Satan himself is the beginning of that entity, who was also physical and created these first acts. but the spirit is satanic. And the satanic spirit in Satanism, the practice of evil, is what is engulfed an individual that dehumanizes him and make him commit evil. That's where you get devil from. That's why devil is a physical term. Brothers and sisters, the government persecution initially contributed to the party's growth among the American African, we'll call them that, the political left, who both valued the party as a powerful force against de facto segregation, and the U.S. military draft during the Vietnam War. Party membership peaked in 1970 and gradually declined over the next decade. Due to vilification by mainstream press, infighting largely formed or fomented by the COINTELPRO, by the counterintelligence program, support further declined over reports of the party's alleged criminal activities such as drug dealing and extortion. And I believe it, because the government knows, because they got them hooked on drugs, then they got them to sell drugs to find out they can make money. Same reason you have drug dealers today. Is that right or wrong? You have drug dealers today for the same reason. They feel that they can make some money. And the government will make it so easy for you to access, will make certain people that are drug sellers, drug users look successful to entice you to do it. But all wrong is never all right. Never all right to do wrong. That's why you got to give your life over to God. You got to get on God's side so God can get on your side, because it's God that raised the organization. It's not an individual, it's God. Brothers and sisters, if you listen to me, you'll receive salvation today and liberation. You'll jump on the bandwagon of freedom to do the will of God, knowing that you've been called out to do what's right. Don't ever let anybody compromise you to do what's wrong. I don't care who it is. And I don't care what it is. Always look at the life of a person trying to give you advice. And then you have to look at your own life. That if you're willing to accept that advice, and how rotten are you on the inside? That's the truth, brothers and sisters. So the party's history is controversial in that sense. Some of the scholars, both black and white, but we're concerned about the black scholars, have characterized the Black Panther Party as the most influential black power organization in the late 1960s and the strongest link between domestic black liberation struggle and the global opponents of American imperialism. What is American imperialism? When we say American imperialism, this is what Donald Trump is trying to do. And in so many instances, I hope Trump get there. I hope he wins again, because it's the only time that you're going to do something for yourself. And any time that they're coming against us, we get closer and closer and closer and closer. If you think that a class struggle is not going to explode within the next 10 years, well, you're out of your mind. It may even be in the next 2 years. Because there's a change of guard happening, brothers and sisters. This was a rise of the new Black Panther Party. The rise of the new Black Panther Party is that what was old and compromised, the new generation couldn't take it anymore. And every generation gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, till eventually there's going to be an explosion. And a racial explosion is worse than an atomic bomb. It doesn't matter how many drones they have. It don't matter how many police they have. God has ordained it. God ordains it. And when God says it, that sells it. See, God called you out. You're not doing something just because you want to do it. God raised you. God put breath in your body. It's God that gave you the concern to do justice, love, mercy, right? And to deliver your people, to walk humbly before God. God did that. You didn't do that, brothers and sisters. I got enough sense to know that even doing this online, no matter how much I get heckled, that God got me doing this. I can tell you the truth. I know better. You just got to learn better. When you talk about American imperialism, this is what the white man wants. Is the expansion of the American political, economic, cultural, media, military influence beyond the boundaries of the United States of America. Depending on the commentator, it may include imperialism through outright military or gunboat diplomacy, unequal treaties, whatever it takes to take over the globe. And if you look, isn't that what's happening? Other scholars have described the party as, and you know these are white, because they always give us a bad name. This is why you can't let them force you into doing evil. See? Because then they got something on you. The devil set you up, then he got something on you. The other scholars who are white have described the party as more criminal than political. Characterized it as defiant, posturing over substance. Right? Because they know. They know it because they were the one that helped do it. Is that right or wrong? Now, let's talk about history a little bit. During the World War, 10,000 black people left the southern states in the second Great Migration, moving to Oakland. What was the Great Migration? Just very quickly, in the context of the 20th century history of the United States, the second Great Migration was the migration of more than 5 million American Africans from the south to the northeast, Midwest. It began in 1940 through World War II, and it lasted until the 1970s. So they had left the South, right, and moved to Oakland, the Bay Area, Detroit, New York, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Ohio. These are Chicago, massive migrations in these areas. California, you name it, Oregon, and other places too. Wisconsin, right? They moved from these places and moved into the major cities of the north, the north, the east, and the west. Can't say the south, because South was functioning on some different things. They found work in the war industry, such as Kaiser Shipyard. You remember the Kaiser Shipyards? The shipyards of Kaiser. The Kaiser Shipyards were 7 major shipbuilding yards located in the United States West Coast during World War II. Kaiser ranked 20th among the U.S. corporations in the value of wartime production contract. The shipyards were owned by Kaiser Shipping Company. Remember that? And these black people went there to get jobs. This is where WAVE started, right? Women in the aviation units of the service. This is where WAVE started. Now, the reason the black people moved was because of Jim Crowism. A new generation of young black people growing up in these cities faced new forms of poverty, racism unfamiliar to their parents. They sought to develop new form politics to address them. This is coming into how the Black Panther Party and new Black Panther Party was created. The Black Panther Party membership consisted of recent migrants whose families traveled north and west to escape the southern racial regime, only to be confronted with new forms of racism and oppression and repression. So in the early 1960s, the civil rights movement had dismantled Jim Crow, the Jim Crow system of the racial subordination in the South, with tactics of nonviolence and civil disobedience. But Jim Crow, which we have to understand, the laws, which were state and local laws introduced in the southern United States in the late 19th and 20th century that enforced racial segregation. Jim Crow being pejorative in form, right, or a pejorative term for the American African. Such as laws remain in force until 1965 on paper. But today we know that they still exist. These segregation laws of the South exist all over the country, but they weren't manifest in the right way. Is that right or wrong? You had the same thing going on in the East and the West and the North that you had going on in the South. It was just displayed differently. There's different forms. They were displayed differently. So the children wanted to demand a full citizenship right for black people. This was the new generation coming up, just like us. There are children coming now that say they wouldn't take the stuff that we took. So they're getting more and more bold. They get more and more bold. As the time goes, they get more and more bold, right? Because they're planting seeds. And you shall reap what you sow, right? If you sow seeds, you're going to reap it. So not much change in the cities of the North and West. And as the wartime and post-war jobs, which drew much of the black population, fled to the suburbs, right? Along with white residents, the black population was concentrated in urban ghettos, high unemployment, substandard housing, and was mostly excluded from political representation, top universities, and the middle class. And you have to understand that. You have to understand that the northern and western police department were almost all white. You have to understand that this is very important. In 1966, only 16 of Oakland's 661 police officers were American African. That was less than 2.5%. Less than 2.5%. So let's understand what's going on. Not much has changed, right? We don't have. Look, today we're still fighting for voting rights, brothers and sisters. We're still oppressed. We're still repressed. Still being discriminated against. Still under heavy artillery from the police. Heavy artillery from the police. Understand that. The only way to get new change is to do new things. The civil rights tactics proved incapable of redressing the conditions that the organization had led much of the nonviolent disobedience. Let's say it this way. The civil rights tactics proved incapable of redressing these conditions. Here's one. The organization that had led much of the nonviolent civil disobedience, such as the SNCC and the CORE, which was, you got the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee was one, and the Congress of Racial Equality, which is CORE, was run by James Forman. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee was run by Stokely Carmichael. These went into decline. By 1966, a Black Power ferment emerged consisting largely of young urban Black people posing a question of civil rights movement could not answer. How would Black people in America win not only formal citizenship rights, but actual economic, political power? Young Black people in Oakland and other cities developed study groups and political organization from its ferment, right? From its ferment, and this ferment created the Black Panther Party. What do we need to do today? What do we need to do today? You and I, right? Whether we know it or not, you and I are going to, we're on the cusp. And it's the young people that's going to bring about this change. Those that are religious, those that are spiritual, those that are Black nationalists, and otherwise are going to bring about a change to demand the government do the very same thing. Anytime history is not lived correctly, it will be repeated, brothers and sisters. It will be repeated. We find ourselves in trouble. We find ourselves in trouble because we haven't done what God has requested us to do. We done what the white man wants us to do, but we haven't done what God wants us to do. We've got to follow God. We got to get on God's side. And if we get on God's side, God will deliver us. He will deliver us. He will give us an answer. The Black Panther Party rose as a result of the changing of guard. The Black Panther Party had been compromised. The rise of the new Black Panther Party. What happened? The African American Defense League was organized. Why? Because of the failures of the civil rights movement, the failures of Black organizations to create successful protection for its people. You and I, brothers and sisters across the country, this every Black person in America, took part in the movement during the time of George Floyd to finally get cameras on police so they can be held accountable for what they're doing. Cameras that they couldn't control. That's what we did. That was our big push in Dallas. That was our big push in Ferguson, Missouri, in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This was our great push. Now, brothers and sisters, that we have that, cameras where the police can't turn off, no matter how much they try, it's time for us to go back in our communities and build up our communities, because that's what we're needed now. You and I, brothers and sisters, will look like fools marching down the street, asking these devils to give us something that they haven't given us in a while, have never given us since we were quote unquote free. Should have never been enslaved. But that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. But they never given us anything. They brought us here to be slaves. And once you emancipated through a war deed, they were fighting to see who would control the slave. Come on, brothers and sisters. I know you know better. The Civil War wasn't fought to free you. It was fought to see who would control you. So what did Abraham Lincoln say? If I could do it half free, I'll do it. If I could do it all slave, I'll do it. If I can do it half slave, half free, I'll do it. Isn't that right? He said, all I want is the union to be united. There's another changing of the guard that's going to take place, whether you and I accept it or not. We better get on God's side so we can direct these children as God gives them power, so we can direct them. Brothers and sisters, I'm not going to hold you any longer. I think I've held you long enough. Don't forget, I have two things for you. Do not forget. I'm going to put these links in there. Don't forget to support us. Do not forget to support us any way you possibly can. Don't forget. Don't forget. We have holistic practice and products, because we definitely need to be healthy. We need to be healthy. Is that right or wrong? We need to be healthy. Holistic practice and products. Brothers and sisters, stop. If it's not natural, don't take it. If it's not natural, don't take it. And for those of you that don't know, these are FDA, part of the Food and Drug Administration. Herbal medicine has been approved by the Food and Drug Administration, so don't let that stop you from taking the healthiest thing on the market. Don't let it stop you. Also, we have Imhotep University. You have Imhotep University. We're going to put that in there as well. Imhotep University. All right, brothers and sisters. We also have clothing that you can get. There are certain things that you can get from us. Right? You can get some boots. Sister the other day was asking about some boots. We have boots. We have clothing, backpacks. We have certain paraphernalia that you can get. Right? Shouldn't say paraphernalia. I don't even think that's a good word. We have certain products that you can get. We have products that you can get. So we encourage you to do that. Get into the school, brothers and sisters. So you can learn herbal medicine. You can open up your own business. It doesn't cost much. All you have to do is get involved. All you have to do is get involved. I want to introduce you all to Veggie Station as well. Open up your own business. Open up your business. Stop complaining that won't nobody hire you. Open up your own business. Open up your business. Veggie Station. Open it up. You can have your own business. All you have to do is order your products. That's it. And that stuff is mailed to you. So you can do that as well. Last and not least. Last but not least. Don't forget, we have products. You can go to the shop and order things. We got some real nice things here in the shop. Right? I'm just going to put it up by black. Real nice things in there. And we hope that you will purchase it so you can get these things. Real nice stuff in there. Ladies, we got purses in there too if you want purses. There's purses in there. Right? Buy black. Buy something that's going to support you. Buy something that's going to support you. You want any other material that we do the research in. I put down here research, books and research. And you'll be able to look on this, just stroll through it. You'll be able to see everything that we have, and you can get that as well. All you have to do is order it, and we'll get it out to you. You can get it by email. You can get an actual hard copy. You can get it by email or a hard copy. So, but just let us know. And here's the email for those of you that may not have known how to get in contact with us. We'll give you this email. And you get on that email and you'll be able to contact us. Brothers and sisters, I appreciate it. Appreciate being with you. I consider it an extreme honor. And make a difference in your community. Please. Make a difference in your community. Make a difference. Don't be negative. Be an answer. Be an answer in your community. And that's what we like to put before you. So that you'll be an answer. See what you can do. Find a project in your community. See what you can do to make a difference, to be a difference. If you spend time rebuilding or rehabilitating a house, you can grab young boys and show them how to do it. You can get that property, grab young boys, show them how to help renovate it. And you can start a construction school just like that. You can start a construction school just by getting young boys and young girls helping you. Get the parents too, get them out of the house, and they can help you rebuild this building. You can show them what to do, and they can literally help you. Is that right or wrong? Make sure that the building is safe so it won't fall in on any children. We don't want any children getting hurt. We don't want any adults getting hurt. And that's why we want you to make sure it's a good building that you can use to rehabilitate, right? And be able to sell that. You'll own it to get profit, be able to sell it and contribute to your next project. Should be another house that you're getting. Then maybe somebody will call you to help build on their house. And then see from that you provided jobs. You got to use your brain. God has already put these things in you. God has already put these things in you, but you've got to move in the power of God, brothers and sisters. You can't do black nationalism. I don't care if it's a Christian organization or a Muslim organization or black national organization. You can't do it without God. You can't do anything without God. And that's the thing that I want to tell you. But you got to be steadfast. You got to be unmovable and always abounding in the work of God. The same thing that was found in Christ Jesus. Because you are the line of the Messiah, and the Messiah comes from you. Brothers and sisters, if I didn't tell you in the beginning, I love you. And I pray that you'll be blessed in everything that you do. Brothers and sisters, love one another. Husband and wife, love one another. Mother and father, love your children. Love your children. Your children need this. Your children need this. Children, respect your parents. Love one another. Assalamu alaikum.